How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video, because it's your boy ScrubGames, and this time we're going to go over a Never Deck profile, and it being my set 2 Vegito list. Because a few people have asked on some of my videos, and also messaged me directly asking for the list to see, to compare. It's nothing spicy, but yeah, we'll go over it, because I'm considering what I'm going to play for the upcoming regional, because we got one for the EU, webcam one on Sunday coming up, and still deciding what I want to play for it because the format is wide open and try to figure out what I feel more comfortable and what I feel is the best deck for me. But we're going to go through this list, and we're not going to give a side deck because, for one, this side deck, like, it changes depending on your metas. Like, if you've got a different meta, like, all different regions have different metas, different, like, decks that do well, which is the same as everyone's, as we've seen for the past few big events from most regions. So there's no point in giving a side deck because it could be different for it. And if you just take someone's side deck and use it yours, and it's not, and it doesn't really cover most of the things in your format, it's just not really going to do much for you. So I'm not going to bother doing that. And also, because I've got the upcoming webcam regionals, I'm not really going to put my side deck in to show off things I'm considering, and also because it's incomplete. So we're just going to go over the main and Z deck, and then yeah, if you want to check out this out, also remember the link to the deck. I think the link might be down below. I think I've put it in there. And yeah, we're just going to go through it. So before we do get into that, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We're currently coming up to, well, we're trying to get up to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, getting closer and closer. We're almost up to three-quarters of the way there, which is really good. And if you can help support, get us all the way up to 1,000 subs by the end of the year, that'd be fucking great. And also, as well as that, you can hit the notification bell to get alerts to when my videos do drop, so you can watch them then or watch them a bit later if you want to. But basically, all in all, any support is much appreciated, and thank you in advance. So with that out of the way, let's get into the video. And usually, I would start with the lead and then go to the main deck, but given this deck, it's a set 2 leader, so all the way back from the beginning of the game, and over time it got a bit of support over and over again to try and make it better, but sadly the support was never enough to make it relevant. But then thanks to the Zenkai series giving us the Z deck, giving us 7 extra card slots and new mechanic and stuff like that, this actually mechanic managed to support it greatly because it got 2 new cards. Because in the Z deck you can have things like Z battle cards and Z leaders, and also soon to be Z extra cards. And this deck got 1 of each. It got a Z lead, which is fantastic, and a Z battle card to support it as well. So the two types got brought out to support it, and they do a very good thing of it. Because the problem with the deck was awakening. You had to be at 4 or less life to awaken, and you got no built-in self-awakening, and putting in Ever Awakening is kind of terrible, trying to put it in just to help the deck flip over. So the Z cards gave something to that, and also when you awaken, you do have a very great permanent, but then the only other effect you've got is swinging the draw 1, so we need a better effect on the awakened leader, which the Z leader provides as well, and makes use of some of the cards in the deck that is not normally usable for this. So it's fantastic. So what we're going to do is first look at the Z deck, and so we can because you can't really understand the main list without seeing the Z cards, because they make all the difference. So we'll start with the Z lead, and that is SSB Vegito, a new look. So this is a red Vegito Z leader, specifically for this the red Vegito leader, because there's no other red Vegito. And the way you can put this on is you don't have to, unlike most Z leads, you don't have to worry about what life total you're at. You just put on any point when you're on this leader, because you need to just pay 1 Z energy, pay 1 red energy, and place it on top of an awakened red Vegito leader. So once your leader is awakened, you can play the Z lead on top of it, and it stays at 15k. It doesn't go to a 20k like we've seen some Z leaders do, but it does gain double strike built in, which is really nice. And it no longer has the whole need to attack to gain a card. It now has ways to gain advantage in Ever effects. It does, however, keep the permanent that allows it to give all Gokus and Vegetas in all areas, absolutely all areas, the colors green, red, and blue, which is very, very good, and it comes up that comes up to be a very relevant thing for this deck. And what I really like about this, being able to have access to multiple tech cards in different colors, which is fantastic. And now when you do go into your Z lead, you do then switch from an auto to 2 activate mains, and these are very, very powerful activate mains. The first one is how you make use of some of the best and some of the most scary cards in the deck, because in activate main once per turn, because both once per turn. And if you have 3 or more energy and you choose one of your Vegeta Z battle cards as the cost, so 3 or more energy, choose one of your Vegeta Z battle cards that you have in play, and you get to play one Vegito card with entry cost of 8 from your hand on top of the chosen card. So you can turn that Z battle card, which is a 1 cost, into a big 8 cost with some interesting and very strong effects. Now you've got quite a few choices. You've got some terrible choices, you've got some good choices, but we only play the good choices. And coming down for turn 3, having these big ass 8-drop Vegetos coming down one after the other every turn, because you've always got access to these Vegeta Z battle cards. You just have to find the 8-drops, which the Z battle card does, which we'll get to in a bit. This is a very powerful effect and allows you to put in some big heavy hitters that also are hard to remove. And then we got one of the best skills, one of the nicest skills this deck has, which is built-in barrier removal. Because as I always say, for every deck profile, every deck needs barrier removal, and nowadays every deck's getting that, be it generic stuff or built-in archetype support. And for this one, it's built into the Z lead, which is amazing. But it's also locked to your draw power as well. So this is the skill where it kind of separates the players, the better players from the weaker players, by knowing when to use this and when to save this effect. Because once you use this effect, that's it, you've used it up for the turn. So people can take advantage of this, where if you use it too early to bounce off, like to put bottom deck a card, draw 2, and then bounce something, ignoring barrier to the hand, then later on, if they drop something like a token negate, I think you can no longer use this effect to get rid of that token negate, to get an attack through, and you waste it, allowing your opponent to capitalize on it. So remember with this effect to make sure to time it right during the turn when you use it, because if you use it incorrectly and use it too early, then you can get punished by your opponent, be able to take advantage of that. Because the effect literally is, once per turn, as the cost, place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. So that's what you do, bottom deck a card from your hand. And then you draw 2 cards, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and return it to the opponent's hand. And this is really good, because against the battle cards and secret rares, it's just remove that card from the game. Anything else, you bounce back to the hand. And if it's something that's quite difficult to actually bring out, then it's going to be hard for them to bring back out again if it requires quite a few bits of resources to do. And also this can be an effect that can trigger some other cards in the deck for like nice little tech choices, which we'll see in a bit. But that's a Z lead. That is the Z lead, very easy to drop. One of your main plays you're going to be doing turn 2, and then we get to the other card that allows you to complete this, get into this a lot easier. Because remember, you need to be awakened to go into this. So we've got a very, very easy way to awaken, and that is built into the Z battle card, being SS Vegito, ready when you are. And that's greatly named because when you're ready, you can awaken and stuff with this. So there's only a 1 cost that requires 1 Z energy. It's a 9k, but it does have deflect, and it can also get the unstoppable duo of having barrier with deflect, which no card should have, but it can get it. And that is for its permanent, where if there are 3 or more colors in your Z energy, this card gets barrier. So all that requires, considering the leader's permanent, all that requires is 1 Goku, 1 Vegeta in your energy, and then you've got 3 colors on that 1 card to make this permanent live. So very easy to keep that live, and gives that full round protection and make sure you're not stopped for doing your small plays. Now the auto is how you get a consistency in finding your 8-drops you want to drop on top of this card, and also other parts of any like combos you have. And it is when this card is played, you get to look at the top 7 cards of your deck, add up to 1 Vegito card among them to your hand, and shuffle your deck. And if you added a card from your deck to your hand using this skill, you got to place 1 card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. So if you don't find anything or don't choose to get anything, you don't bottom deck. But if you do have something, you have to bottom deck a card, which is fine because you're allowed to use to filter, like grab a Vegito card that you want and then filter back. You can even do things like grab a Vegito card out of it, then put that same card to the bottom of the deck if you want to keep it hidden at the bottom of the deck but still in the deck. That might be irrelevant, silly, but it does come up to be handy for certain cards. And then it's the activate main, which is what we want to use to help you flip over. So with this deck, you're going to be using all 4 of your Vegito Z battle cards. The first one you're going to be using to awaken, so you can flip yourself over at high life. And the other ones you're going to be using to drop these 8-drops down over like the course of turns to slap down some pretty powerful boss cards. But the activate main is just if your leader is a red Vegito card, and then its back is facing up, you have 2 more energy, and you move this card from the game's cost. So if you're a red Vegito leader, you're unawakened, and you've got 2 more energy, and you move this card from the game, from your battle area, you get to flip your leader over, and then draw 2 cards. So that's how you do it. Just literally one battle, be it you attacking, your opponent attacking, combo a card, put your Z energy, and then once you get 2 energy, you're tapping one, bringing this out, and using the auto to try and find Vegeta, then use an effect to remove from the game so you can flip over, and now you're potentially at 8 life, Awaken lead, and then can swing, combo card, then go into your Z leader. So turn 2, you normally going straight into your Awakening and going straight into your Z leader to get all these powerful effects. And you might be thinking it does need one green, but remember, all your Gokus, Vegetas gain green, blue, and red in all areas. So it means you just charge one Goku or Vegeta, and you've got the green you need for this card. So very, very easy to drop. And these basically are the reasons why this deck is actually playable now, and not the trash it was beforehand. So those are the five. So those are 5 slots. So remember, you got 7 slots in your Z deck, and those are the 5 slots you're always going to use in this deck. They're always going to be the same. You're always going to use four copies of the Z battle card and one of the Z lead, and that leaves you 2 other slots to go into some tech choices, try out different things. Because remember, you can get different energy color. You can get different colors of energy. You get access to blue, green, and red thanks to charging Vegetas and Gokus, and also yellow as well if you play any yellow Gokus or Vegetas, which we do play. And normally you can have different ones. It can work for you. Like this, the Z deck outside of these 5 slots is totally up to you what you want to prefer to go to. But I personally, I've only just been playing the 2 copies of Oolong because I play yellow in this deck, as we'll see in a bit, so it's very easy to bring this out. And this is a very, very good card because if you think about it, some of the 8 drops are like 30 to 35k, or even the secret rares like 40k. So getting one of those Vegetas out for like 1 energy because you're paying 1 energy for your Z battle card, then chucking the 8 drop on top of it. You got this for 1 energy, huge beat stick, potentially got triple strike stuff like that, swinging through. And if you get your opponent down to 1 and they can no longer stop another attack, you can then for another 1 energy, get out Oolong, requires 2 Z energy, 2 of these like very, very easy to provide because you're only using another 5 Z energy for the other ones to get all use for a lot of that, and there's no real reason to Z charge outside of that. So it's very easy to get 2 energy, drop this out, and then you can copy your 8 drops, so turning this from 1 energy in your Z deck to a 35k attacker to help finish off things. Like I've won a few games where I've dropped Oolong after pushing pressure with my Vegetos and finished them off with Oolong. That's been a bit of base 35 to 40k. And I do play 2 instead of just the 1, and that's really for one reason. And that reason is because if your opponent gets rid of one, or if you don't kill them and you survive, there's nothing really else in the Z deck that I feel is kind of worth playing, like for the Z energy or for the cost of the cards. Considering that most of your plays are like don't cost more than 1 energy. There's only I think 1 or 2 plays that cost 2 energy at most, and those are very powerful plays that are worth the energy, but mostly everything costs 1, and there's nothing else I can feel to put in the Z deck that can meet the effects of some of the other cards in the deck that cost 1 or 2 energy and don't cost that same amount. So I just put 2 Oolong because if they survive and you got drop 1 and they think that's gone, you've got another one to use, and it's not often that you need to use them, but it could be handy in certain circumstances. So that for me is my entire Z deck, just those 3 cards, because I'm going to always use these 5 cards, and these ones come in really handy. So that is the side deck. Then we go to the main deck. So this is my build, my main build of it. I go for the yellow stuff because I feel like the mono red version is pretty poor in terms of like things you can do. Like it's not as powerful, and you've got to wait like for your secret rare play and things like that. You've got to wait quite a while to actually. You got to wait longer than I want to. Like turn 3 is a good time to then chuck things down and start going ham. Wait until turn 4 just feels a bit slow to me as well. Even if you go in second going to turn 4, that's still a good while having your opponent have 4 full turns. Whereas if you go on turn 3, your opponent gets 4 free turns. That's fair enough, given that one of the turns they can't really attack. So, for the main bits we've got is I run the Vegito pack, like the little Vegito combo, being the 4-drop polymorphic Potara and Vegeta Resolve combined. Now this is a really good combo and a nice one if you can get it done turn 1 as well, because these 2 cards help you filter through 4 cards for your deck. Because this Vegeta, what he does is you pay 1, discard it from your hand as the cost, and then as long as your leader is this red leader, you get to choose one of your Goku and Vegeta cards In one Goku and one Vegito card from your deck or drop, when energy costs are 2 or less, you negate the skills for the turn, they're played in rest mode, and you can't play anything that's not a Vegito card for the rest of the turn. And if they're still there at the end of the turn, they're placed in the drop area. Yeah. So you're essentially discarding this from your hand, paying 1 to play out a Vegito. No, sorry, a Goku and Vegeta. Energy costs 2 or less in rest mode, the skills negated, and you can't play any more cards apart from Vegitos, and they're lost at the end of the turn if you don't use them. So you normally use this to bring out 2, and then you just tromp straight on top of those 2 this Vegito, and this Vegito comes out in active mode. And the great thing is that he's a 25k with barriers, so that protection with barrier is fantastic. 25k is a very good number, especially when you can bring out for free. And his Potara is free, which is very nice. And the great thing about this is when you do drop this down, you draw 2 cards as part of the Union Potara. So if you're unable to draw by any effects like Slug, then you can't drop this. But when you drop it, you draw 2 cards, and that's what I mean by the fact that it's filtered you by 4 cards in deck. Because you've discarded this card from your hand, paid 1 to bring out 2 cards from your deck, so you have 2 less in your deck. Then you evolve on top of him into Vegito, who then draws you 2 cards, so you've just thinned your deck by 4 cards, and kept your hand the same, so your hand isn't negged at all, because you replace these 2 in your hand with the 2 new cards, but you filter your hand through by 4 cards to help you see more things from your deck and find cards you really want. And I play 4/4 copies because even if you don't use them, you normally will always use the 5 drops, not always use the 4 drops. And at the very least, they're combo power because the 0 costs 5Ks, and they could be charged because even then, red energy is still usable. So I'll play 4/4. And because we're going to go through the Vegitos first, and we're going to the Gokus and Vegetas because we're going to be using those lots just to play these cards. And we got to go with it as well. 1 Hyper Rush SSB Vegito. This is a very nice one. And we only play 1 because I wasn't originally playing when I first started testing this when the support for this deck came out. Because this is a green card. So one of the best super combos for this deck is the multicolored Beerus super combo, because that's one of the only, well, I think it's the only multicolored super combo that actually draws inherently without any outside effects. And it's reliant, like, you're out to get its full effect by either seeing a red or a yellow card. Well, mainly a red card, which this is not. So by having this, it makes your super combo potentially weaker if it reveals this. And also, it's a 1-cost 10k. You don't really want to be paying like energy for combo cards. You don't really want to be doing that. So that's already a neg. And also, it's only really usable off this. This card, you're not going to be paying anything or using Union Potara out like for its own effect. It's just only a card that can be usable off this. But I have included 1 copy of it because in certain situations it can actually be where you can actually use this effect of the Vegito to play it out. Then it's handy. And I just realised I forgot to cover the effects on it. So I covered the 4 drops effect. And outside of the Potara barrier, this card only has one ever effect that's actually useful, and that is the activate main/battle, which is by paying 2 red, you get to play it to 1 Vegito card with energy cost of 7 or less from your deck on top of this card, and then shuffle this. And this is handy because with this Hyper Rush Vegito here, you can then swing with this 5-drop, especially if you're locked into things like Big or More, because I've seen people think that Big or More is just on this deck, and those are people that have never played this deck or understand how to play at a decent level. So you can pardon their ignorance for thinking that, but this card can like swing. If someone drops Big or More and wasting their turn, you can just drop this down, swing at it, then pay the 2 energy to play on top of this Hyper Rush, and since the battle's already gone through, and because conducted because it's a 5-cost attack, you can then get this out and the battle still goes through with this 7-drop in the as the card attacking now. And this is a nice little card you can have as well in your deck to then be like a surprise offensively or defensively, because I've used it for either way. Because you just pay the 2 energy and drop this from the deck. And the great thing about this is that it's a 25k with triple strikes, so there's never a triple striker in the deck that you can use to finish off games. And the main part of his auto. So his auto is when you play this card, if your leader is a Vegito, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and up to 1 of the cards in your opponent's hand and place them in the drop. So that's at random. Well, you get to choose 1 card from the opponent's battle area, put in the drop. And it's sending, not KOing or anything, so you can get around certain things that have protection like Captain KO'd. And you've also got the whole picking a card from hand at random as well, which is nice. So with that, you get to basically do a cells Kamehameha in a sense. So they get the fan out of the hand, face down, and you get to pick a card from it and drop it. Like I've done things like hit people's secret rares out of the hand using this effect, which is quite nice. And then not only that, you also then get to draw 2 cards, and then you get to choose up to 2 of your cards in your life and add to your hand. So it's really nice being able to like plus 4 cards by drawing 2 and taking 2 life, whilst pushing in a triple strike that they thought was going to be a single strike, and ripping a card off their board and a card from their hand as well. It is really nice. Like this is just nice as a one-of to get it. And the nice thing is that if you use Polymorphic Potara, when you're going through and getting your Goku and Vegetas, you can always see if it's in your deck, and that's one benefit. Another benefit is 4-drop in that by using it to look for your deck, you can see if your secret rare or this Hyper Rush Vegito is in your deck. And if it's in your deck, you know it's available to use, so you don't have to go on a leap of faith. And if it's not, you know if it's in your life, and if you need to dig for your life for it. That's one handy thing, is that you've always got the ability to use a card to look for your deck, see, so you can know if you need to start hunting for your life or deck to find your secret rare, or if the 7-drop is in your deck to be able to use. So that's one little package for the Vegitos. And then we go on to the 8-drops. So the first one, we only play 2 8-drop Vegitos because you can only play 3 out at a time, and one of them is a very powerful one. And it's the main one you're going to be dropping. So all the text is irrelevant. It's only the keyword skills really, because there are ever skills on this card, though in the text box anyway, outside the keyword skills at the top, the 3 there. They're relevant because they only work with a blue trunks, which we're not playing. So this is mainly because it's an 8 cost. It's 35k base as well, so that's a big power boost for 1 edge to drop for essentially 1 energy using the Z lead on top of your Z battle card. It's 0 cost 5k combo, so it's a free combo if you need to use it for combo power. And the only negative thing about this card is that it's blue and not red or yellow, so if you were to use it with a beer super combo, it doesn't get the full effect. So that's one neg, but you'll be searching this out within your deck, so they're not in your deck for the beers to hit if you use it. But the main things about this is that it's a 35k with deflect, triple stripe, and barrier, so it's not being affected by anything when it comes in. It's got barrier to protect it when it hits the board, which deflect means it's going to hit the board, and it's got triple strike at 35k power, so it could be hitting for some big damage. So that's one thing. We play 3 copies of these, because remember, throughout a game you can only drop 3 8-drop Vegitos, because you only have, after using the first Vegito Z battle card to help awaken your lead, to flip over, you're going to be using the other 3 to then evolve on top of. So you only have 3 attempts to drop the 8-drops. So we got 3 for these. And then the other Vegito we got is our secret rare, being Power Potara, Vegito, Kefla, and Zamasu. So this is a nice one. The only downside for this is that it's permanent. So the longer the game goes on, the harder it is going to be for you to drop this out. Because it's got a permanent where if your opponent has 6 or more energy, or they have 6 or more cards in rest mode, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3. Meaning that in your hand, if your opponent has 6 or more cards in rest or 6 or more energy, means it's a 5 cost, so it won't meet the criteria for the Z leader to drop all in 1 drop. So you want to drop this as early as possible to gain the full effect, to put some big pressure in. Because this card is fantastic. This is one of the main reasons this deck is so powerful outside the support from the Z lead, because it's an 8 cost with 40k power and triple strike, so it's got no deflect or barrier like the ever 8-drop here, but it still has triple strike and it's 5k stronger. But it does have a very powerful auto, and that is when this card is played, you choose 4 of your opponent's cards and rest them, and then draw 4 cards. So you plus 4 on this card just by dropping it. So you plus 3 because you're negging from your hand by playing it from your hand, but then you plus 3 because you're drawing 4 cards, and you get to tap out 4 of your opponent's cards. Any cards, be it Unison, Energy, Leader, whatever, you get to tap them as long as you don't have barrier protecting them. And this is great because I've had games before when people have left Energy open to use like negates, like Violent Rays and stuff like that, and you'll just drop this, tap them out, so that's no longer an option, and they're tapped out if they're using any negates or anything like that to protect you, protect themselves from you. They're normally taking the life to do that, or having some setup to play things for free, which is not often, and you can always stop those with some handy cards we have in the deck. But this is a fantastic secret rare, and you want to drop this as early as possible because it's just going to increase your hand size, gives you more cards and more things to go hand with, because you're already drawing quite a lot from this as well, where you're thinning your deck through the 5-drop and 4-drop combo. You'd plussing by your awakening on turn 2, drawing 2 from the awakening, swinging to draw 1 and going to your Z lead, and then using that to +1 as well in the same turn. And then dropping this. And remember, if you get the trigger both the Secret Rare and Hyper Rush in a game, those cards both net you four extra cards as long as you've got high enough life for the Hyper Rush, and you're gaining a lot of cards, meaning that you're not going to worry about hand size in this deck. You can have a beefy hand, and most of it is combat power and useful cards as well. So that is all the Vegito cards. So that's the only ones we play. Just the 4 of each of the 4 and 5 drop. 1 of the 7 drop is a tech for the 5 drop. 3 of these 8 drops, Paralyze and Prowess, and 1 of the secret rares options for your Z lead to drop down on your Z battle card. Then we go to some of the Goku and Vegetas, and they all have utility and some nice effects, and we want to have enough so we can actually charge them, use them for Polymorphic Potara, and also make use of the effects if we don't use them for either of those things. So you want to have them be handy for charging, for your Polymorphic Potara, and actually be useful if you decide to play them, and stuff like that. So, first of all, we've got 4 copies of SS Son Goku, the Legend Personified. This is a very lovely card. It's red, it's a Goku, so it's going to be in any area, blue, green, and red. It's got unique, so you can only have 1 at a time, but that doesn't matter because you can always get it off the board thanks to Resolve Combined to then play another one. And it's really nice because it's a 1 cost, 4k power, cantrips, it draws 1 and plays a card, so when you play it, you draw a card, so you're at least replacing your hand, filtering for your deck nicely. And it's got a very, very nice activate main, which is bond free, requiring you have 2 other battle cards on the board alongside it. And once per turn, if your opponent has 3 or more energies, you have to at least wait for your opponent to get the turn free at the very least. This card gets 21,000 power until the start of your next main phase, meaning it's a 25k to attack with. And the nice thing about that is you can play it out, use the effect to get that extra power, making it a 25k base, swing with it, and then evolve on top of that and another Vegeta into Resolve Combined, and that power will pass over to the Vegito, meaning you just swung with a 25k, and now you've got in active mode a 46k attacker that then, if it goes into Hyper Rush, passes that power boost even further onto Hyper Rush, who has Triple Strike. So this is a very nice card. I've even done that before I finish people off, where I've just slammed on this, swung with it, Resolve Combined, swung with that, and even then brought out Oolong the copy. It's now 46k power Vegito to then swing with that, so you can get some really big swings for very cheap in this deck as well. I'll play 4 copies of it because if you can use that effect, it's still a Goku, it's a cantrip, and it could be the 3 colors, which is handy. So that's why we play 4 copies of this one Goku, because it actually has a good use of being playing outside of just charging and Potara fodder. Then we've got 4 copies of Goku and Vegeta Alliance of Rivals. This is mainly because it's a yellow Goku and Vegeta, and it's both characters. That's the main reason, even though none of the effects on this outside of Barrier are relevant. It's mainly here because it's a yellow Goku Vegeta, so you get the 4 effects of a Beer Super Combo, and allow you to charge yellow to have 4 colors then for your energy. And a Goku Vegeta, so if you need it for Polymorph Potara targets or anything like that, or just basically charging, it's a very handy one. You're going to be mainly charging this or comboing this one, but mainly charging it. And we got 4 copies because we want to see it to have more chance to get yellow energy. Then we have 2 copies of Son Goku the Rescuer. This is a handy one because, once again, Goku, so it's green, red, and blue. So it gets the benefit of being, if you reveal for Beerus Super Combo, and also being a Goku Vegito. And it's also a way to actually get one on board if you need to drop Resolve Combined without using a Polymorphic Potara. Because remember, a Polymorphic Potara locks you out of anything that's not a Vegito for the turn. So unless you don't care about dropping anything that's not Vegito, use Polymorphic Potara, that costs you 1 energy. But if you don't want to use that and be locked out and play other things, then you want to have different ways to bring out Goku's Vegetas, and this is a very easy one, because remember that your Z leader has the effect to bounce a card ignoring Barrier from the board back to hand, and this has an effect which is in his auto, which is when a battle card is returned to the player's hand by a skill. If Goku the Rescuer is not in play, you get to play this card from your hand. So this is a nice little combination where with your Z leader, you can bounce one of your opponent's battle cards back to hand and then play this out from your hand for free. That way it's a 15k attacker and fodder for Resolve Combined. So we play 2 copies of this as a Never Goku by name that you can charge, anything like that, and actually has some use in playing. I think that is all for the Gokus. And then we go on to the Vegetas. We've got full 4 copies of Vegeta Protecting His Loved Ones. Like, I don't know what I can really tell you about this one. It's a fantastic turn 1 play because it's a cantrip, meaning when it's played, you draw a card, and it has Barrier. So it's a turn 1 play. You can filter your deck, use your 1 energy, make use of it, draw a card, and have it with protection to either leave further down the line for Union Potara fodder, because it's got barrier to protect itself, or just use it as a way to combo off. And also it's demagicate, because you know how much I dislike blue, with all like blue just being like most blue decks and most people play blue being too defensive, just holding off, defending, going demagic, blah blah blah. Having this built in, demagicate like this, blue hate, built in is fantastic. And at the very least, remember it's a Vegeta, so it's red, blue, and green. So when you charge it or anything like that, it's still useful in that aspect. And then we've got 4 copies of Vegeta, Father of Encouragement. This is a never yellow of the Goku and Vegetas, so you can charge yellow energy to make use of some of the cards we're going to go over in a little bit. And unlike you probably think there's a lot of ever different Gokus and Vegetas in yellow you could probably run, ever ones that could be a strong effect. But literally, like, we use this one, the Alliance of Rivals, because it's both characters. I mean, it's got a good use of being not only just yellow, but both characters if you need a Goku or Vegeta in that aspect. And this one is the best ever yellow Vegeta or Goku card because it's a 1 cost and it's a counter attack. So it's a negate at the very least. So it's a yellow Vegeta, meaning that it's yellow, making it a 4-color card instead of a 3-color card like the rest. It's a Vegeta, so it's a name we need, and it's also got the use in the niche situations where you can use it as a negate if need be. Like that, it puts it above everything else. Having the fact that it could be a negate as well, which is really nice. So that's the reason we run 4 copies of this. And then the last one, I think of the Vegetas, is Vegeta Resolve Renew. Now this was errated to mean that it can only you can only use its counterplay skill if your leader is a Vegito. So every other red deck that used to run it before it got errated lost out to this fantastic counterplay. And Vegeta still has it, and it's so good. Like, why would you not run it? Because there's a counterplay where if the battle card being played is 15k power or less, placing the drop here instead and you play this card out. And it's got a permanent where if you have 3 or more energy, you reduce the cost of this card in your hand and deck by 2, meaning that you can still play it off Polymer Potara when you get turn 3, and use the counterplay as a 1-cost counterplay once you get turn 3 as well. And the other nice thing it's got is that not only being a Vegeta and 3 colors, is that it's going to activate main, which is for 1 red. If your leader card is a Vegito card and you add 1 card from your left to your hand, play this card from your hand. So if you need to play out a Vegeta, and you want to start taking cards from life to try and find, let's say, your secret rares in your life, try and find that there, you can use this to also just establish it on the board and help try and take some life to find your secret rare so you can drop it. I play 4 copies of this because it's a very good counterplay to deal with some floodgates as well. The majority of floodgates, not some of the things like Topo and stuff like that. So that is all the Goku's Vegetas for the deck. So we do run a fair few of them, but once again, they're easy cards to just charge, and they also got useful effects like good counterplay, demagicate, a negate at best, at the very least, and a yellow charge, potential to play, and a big beat stick, and a good card for Union Potara. So then we go on to some of the other cards. So we've got 4 copies of Beerus Motivated Destruction. Now, with this deck, you don't have any real control over your life. Like, you have ways to take your life, but they're not consistent and cheap to do so. So things like the Raditz super combo is not a great option. Otherwise you're relying on your opponent trying to attack you, or trying to waste cards that take life just to allow you to have that life. And sometimes I've won at like still 6 life, so I'm not. And at least the nice thing about Beerus is that it's usable at any life total. You just have to have your leader being red or yellow, which your leader is red. You can use any life total, and it's a multicolor super combo that allows you to draw and gain a big benefit, because it still allows you to draw because when you use it in a combo, you get rid of the top card of your deck, and so you're gaining off that, which no other multicolor super combo does. And then you get effects based off the card revealed. If the card you revealed is red, then you get a 5k combo power to the super combo, meaning it's a full 10k dem. And if it's yellow, you get to minus 1 of your opponent's cards by 5k power for the battle. Now, the great thing about this is that if you hit a card that's both red and yellow, which I never copy itself, or the yellow Gokus and Vegetas will be both colors because they also gain red in all areas from the leader's permanent. You get the full effect of making a super combo, a 10k super combo, and negating one of your opponent's cards in rest mode by 5k, which is normally going to be the card attacking or that card that you are attacking. So that's why I use this one, because it's usable anytime, not have to worry about where your life total is, can get a big benefit and is usable any life total, and just a very strong card, so you have to really worry. Yeah, you can switch this out. Like, I wouldn't recommend Raditz for this one, because once again, you can't control your life. But the next available option, if you don't want to use this and don't like the fact that if you hit Hyper Rush or Paralyze and Prowess, you won't get any benefit of that card. You'll just have a 5k super combo. If that kind of takes you off this card, the next best super combo you can run for this deck is the Android 20 super combo from set 19, because that just requires you to have 2 Z energy, a red Z battle card in play, or a Z leader in play, a red Z leader, to have live. And since you're going into your Z leader as early as turn 2, like as quick as possible, you can have that super combo live. And what only draws you 1 card, you still don't get to reveal the card, you don't get a 15k potential difference like Beerus, but you still get a super combo that's live at no matter what life total you're at, and it's live to draw your card. And then it's still like a base 10k as well. So if you don't want to use this one, go ahead and use the Android 20 super combo from set 19. Then the next card we've got is 4 copies of Whis, Angel of Universe 7. Now once again, this is a card that replaces another good card that most decks run, and that's a Token Negates. And really run this over the Token Negates because, once again, Token Negates need you to be at 5 life or less, which once again, you don't have control over your life in this deck. And yeah, it just takes a life, it just negates the attack, takes a life, plays a token. And a token has blocker for the turn, but then after that turn's passed, it no longer has blocker. But then if you look at some of them have combo power, some of them don't. But Whis is a lot better in many aspects because thanks to running the yellow Gokus and Vegetas, you can make this so it's playable at any point, because this has a permanent where if there are 4 more colors in your energy, you can activate this card's character skill from your hand by adding a card from your life to your hand instead of paying its energy cost. And if you've put a yellow Goku Vegeta in your energy, it's got his color it's printed on being yellow, and then the leader gives it 3 other colors being red, blue, and green. So by charging 1 yellow Vegeta or Goku, which you do turn 1, you can have this live as early as possible to then negate any problem attacks and use Whis to just use as a token negate. And it's always got printed as blocker as well. It's always going to have blockers, even if you don't use it to block the turn you drop it, you can then use it to block in future turns as well. And it still does the same thing as the token negates and be able to negate attack and play out itself as a blocker. It also does a nice use in hand, where if you've got enough energy, you can still combat from hand, because even though it costs 2 energy to beat the combo as a 10k, it has also, when this card is using the combo from your hand, switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode, meaning that even though you're going to be paying 2, the combo as a 10k, it will then untap 1 of those energy. Meaning that it's technically a pseudo 1 cost 10k combo at the very least, as long as you've got energy open. But the main thing you can be using it for is negates. But if that need arises where you got enough energy and you need to combo this off to get combo power, it's going to be a pseudo 1. It's going to give you back an energy after you tap 2 for it. So that's why we run these super combos and token negates here, the Beerus Whis combo. And then we go into some of the other cards, being 2 copies of Omega Shenron, because we're one of the few red decks that has a Z leader. I mean, we can play this because it's an 8 cost, 30k with deflect and triple strike. Comes down for 2 energy because of its activate main being limit 1. For 2 red energy, if your leader is a red Shadow Dragon card or a red Z leader and you have 3 more energy, play this card from your hand, so you can still drop this card in this deck because you're going to be awakening into your Z leader at turn 2. And then it's always, since you're going to be a Z leader, it's always going to have its activate battle to neg something, being a battle card or a unison card, by 30k power for the turn for each of your Z energy, well, by 30k. And if you've got any Z energy, also doing an extra bit of a 30k 3k power for each one. So this is a very nice one, just been a drop. Even though it seems expensive for 2 energy, it could be worth it sometimes because it's a 30k triple strike, and also can give you a bit of removal through its negging power as well. Because on turn 3, you can go ahead and drop one of your 8-drop Vegito, play a Z-Battle card, drop an 8-drop Vegito on it, and then drop this as well. They have two big triple strikers, being 30 up to 30 to 40 PA base power, and plus your leader being a double strike hitter as well, to kind of put a lot of pressure turn 3. I'm going to play 2 copies of this because it's still at least a red card that can come down for Beerus, and if you see it, it's a very good card you can drop. Because even if they get rid of it, you're going to make use of it when you drop it as well. Then we have our last battle card being 1 copy of our Overwhelm card. So this is a never card you can kind of like hit off the super combo to not get the full power, but still it's worth it considering how strong the Overwhelms are. And we go for the SS4 Vegeta, Heat is Fighting Spirit, because even though you don't have to worry about removal sometimes if your boards can go really wide, it could be a bit of an issue. So this is a nice one removal, and you really got the choice between either going for this one, have single target removal, which helps deal with like some secret rares and stuff like that, and some problem cards that aren't covered by secret ID. You also have secret ID to go through wide boards if you feel like you can't hang in the wide boards that easily. And you've also got access to the Vegeta, the other Vegeta, which makes them more of a card from the hand when you drop it. If you feel like that's going to be more handy to hit cards in the hand, reduce their hand size down, rather than use removal. It's up to you which one you want to overwhelm. You've got all those different options. I just prefer this one to give extra removal while also on a free 30k beat stick that I can drop. Then we come to the extra cards, and I go for 2 copies of King Vegeta's Imposing Presence, because this is a very good extra card you could potentially play for free, and it's very handy. You can always leave energy up for it. It just makes it so your opponent has a harder time coming at you when you drop this, to make it easier to survive turns. And your leader is a mono red Saiyan, so you can always use this to defend yourself. It is not too bad. You can always charge it or side it out, or even just discard off things, or like put it back in your deck with some of the effects that allow you to bomb deck a card to control, like get ever cards as well. And then one of my favourite cards in the deck, and one of the main reasons I like playing the multicolour version, the yellow build rather than the mono red one, is Almighty Resistance. This card is busted because we've seen like almost every color has counters. Like people have been complaining about the cooler counter in yellow for so long because it just stops the card. You get the going for a kill swing, stop their counter and just going, and not have to worry about them stopping the attack. And red has that in Almighty Resistance. So it's cheaper, being a 2 cost, but you need to pay 1 red and 1 yellow. Easy enough to do when you're charging yellow anyway. And you just need to have a red lead and discard a yellow card in order to stop a counter attack on that turn. And the great thing about this is that you can just drop things like your secret rare for 1 energy on top. Well, for just play out the Z-Battle card, drop a secret rare on top of him to tap your opponent out and draw 4 cards. Then swing, and if your opponent's like 4 life or 5, at 3 life, or even at 4 life, and they use a token negate or something like that to try and negate the attack or taking a life because they're tapped out, you can just chuck down Almighty Resistance, stop that thing, and then just go all in. And they've either put themselves in a kill position, or they are in a kill position to have to now try and rely on their combo power, the combo out. And you could have a 40k base triple striker, throw down some super combos, not wearing it, still having high life, and then just put a load of pressure and just kill them from that. This deck is brilliant in the fact that it can drop a lot of big things, a lot of pressure, and have things like All-Might Resist to back up, because this deck filters so much through the deck. You're always going to find an All-Might Resistance and your secret rare, as long as it's not a knife. So that is the deck. With the turn progression on this deck, you're normally going to be turn 1 charging a card, playing a 1-drop, either like this the Legend Personified, or Vegeta protecting his loved ones, just to get a draw. Or if you've got both the 4-drop and the 5-drop here, dropping them together to filter your deck by 4 cards and have this ready. Because one thing you don't want to do if your opponent doesn't attack you is have to attack with your leader to get a Z-Awaken, then Awaken. You want to normally attack with something else that's not your leader to get the attack through. Combo cards, you can then go into your Z-Battle card to Awaken, so then you can draw 2, flip over, and then swing with your lead so you can get that draw before going into your Z-Lead. So normally you want to just drop a 1-drop on turn 1 to just get the draw, and if your opponent doesn't attack into you, then you can allow you to combo out like the combo card to get that energy in their turn, so you can do the whole stuff in the next turn. You want to either establish this 5-drop or one of these 1-drops on that turn 1, so you can make use of your energy, get some benefits of it, either establish a 5-drop or just make use of your energy. So then turn 2, you can then bring out the Z battle card, use the effect to try and look for a Vegito if you want to grab one, if you look at to see if you can grab the secret rare early, and then use this effect to remove stuff from the game to flip your leader over, draw 2 cards, so now your leader can swing, combo a card, put pressure, and then pay that last energy you have, go into your Z lead, and then have your Z lead live. So in turn 3, you can then start bringing out your Z battle cards, Vegitos, slapping some 8 drops on top of them, maybe even dropping a Mega, some ever strong stuff, and pushing face, while also being hard to kill because you've got at high life, you've got like you can take hits, combat often with your super combos that are always live, your Weeses are always live, and even then use other things like your Vegeta negates and stuff like that, just to not to worry too much about your opponent. And even then, after having when they get to their turn 3, well, if they're on their turn 2 still, while you're getting to your turn 3, and if they've had their turn 3, you can still put a lot of pressure in and defend a lot easier because you can even leave up 2 energy for your Hyper Rush to surprise them when you're at their turn. Use all my resistance to push through things and just make their life live in hell, dropping all these big triple strikers and pushing damage through. Because then once you hit turn 3 and onwards, it's then depending what you've got and what you can do and what you're playing against. But that is it for the deck profile. Hopefully it's gone on for a while. I like to be quite clear in like how the decks, while they're running it, get the understanding to help people as much as possible. Because I know some people just like to grab the list, play it, but then if you don't really understand why the cards are in there, what they're playing. Like I remember I've had some people who've been playing this deck while they ran certain cards and they can't give an answer because they can't really think about it themselves, and they don't end up doing so well with it. Whereas this deck is a deck that, as long as you think about it, understand why you've got certain cards in there, why you play certain cards, and when you play them, you can do quite well with it. And it's nice for people to understand that before playing it. So that is it from me. So that is the list. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give it a like. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.